Welcome to today's town hall for the exploration of infrastructure of generosity towards the heliogenic civilization. And this and next week, we will be focusing on Africa. There are two amazing projects out of Africa that will be able to present what they're doing, and we have the chance to interact with them and actually start a learning journey, maybe to learn from the motherland, pun absolutely intended, in order to figure out where you might be going. So, as usual, the session is structured in the following way. First, our guest will present their project. Then I will have a brief Q&A with the team. And after that, we will open to everyone. The session is being recorded and will be published on YouTube. So if you feel shy about that, then please turn off your camera. And if you would prefer for me to ask questions on your behalf, please put them in the chat and indicate clearly that you want me to read them. And if your bandwidth, and I know that some of us are in Southern Hemisphere, then please switch on your camera because it is always nicer to speak with people than with tiles. Okay. So with that housekeeping out of the way, I'm going to hand the stage over to Kat. Kat, please, the stage is yours.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Thomas. And I think let me just start by saying Happy International Women's Day to all the women here and all the women not here. Yeah, it's good to be celebrated once in a while. And it's apparently it's also Thomas' daughter's birthday. So yeah, thank you so much, Thomas, for giving us this opportunity. It truly means a lot. And so I think we'll start with my team introducing ourselves. Just briefly, like a minute or two, so that we don't, waste a lot of time in there. And so my name is Catherine Awor, and I'm basically the lead of Motherland here on the ground in Siaya. At the moment, I'm in Nairobi. So yeah, I'm 28 years old, psychologist by profession. And 2 years ago, if you could have told me that I'd be working in an agricultural field or chanting climate change and climate action and sustainability from learning mental health disorders, I'll just laugh at you and say you're crazy. But here I am today, and I'm very glad and very proud of what I am doing and what my team is doing. So let me welcome my team, Violet and Cecil, that you introduce yourself briefly, and then we just start from there. Thank you. Violet, you can go ahead because it's our day.
Okay, Catherine, thank you so much, everyone. My name is Violet Ateno. I'm from Siaya, resident of Siaya County in Kenya. So a member of the local impact team of Motherland. So basically, we are the implementers of the project in Siaya County. Thank you so much.
Nicholas?
Yeah, thank you. Sorry, my camera.
I think Cecil's connectivity is bad, so maybe we can I introduce him for us. Yeah, so you can just mute Sonare. It's our day, so I just have to take all the credits the way I'm seeing it now. So Nicholas Cecil is our agronomist, and he's also we are all in Kenya. He's also in Siaya, and he's basically the mind behind everything scientific and practical of farming and all that. So yeah. So basically this is the team that started implementing Motherland on the ground here in Kenya. And we started from zero knowledge. Yeah. We've truly learned a lot. I like starting. I don't know, Thomas, how many minutes we have so that I don't I don't speak here for 2 hours.
Well, I will stop you if you speak for 2 hours, but if you can give us a overview of what Motherland is within, let's say, 15, 20 minutes, that would be amazing. And then we go into an open conversation.
Thank you. Thank you. So Motherland, just like the name suggests, it's in Africa. Yeah, we are doing. Let me start by saying this. When we started Motherland last year in 2023 January, and we started visiting communities. There is one farmer that we met that was a bit elderly, and my team is here. They can attest to that. And I remember him as telling us, actually, like putting us off, saying that these challenges that we've been facing over and over for the past years, do you think that you children, he called us children, do you think that you children will be able to offer solutions to those challenges? Yeah. So that is why we do what Motherland does. So when we started Motherland, we were starting Motherland on the basis that there are smallholder farmers, there are rural communities, there is poverty, and all these are aspects that needs to change. Why? I like going with the slogan that Africa has all that it needs for it to prosper. Africa has all the minerals, all the lands, all the people, the manpower that it needs. But the funny thing is that we never know that. We don't know that. Yeah. Sometimes it takes an outsider to come and point to us that, why are you looking further when you can get what you want there? So that is why Motherland is Motherland. We are working with rural communities, specifically smallholder farmers, with an aim of reducing post-harvest loss. We are working with smallholder farmers to improve their livelihoods. We are working with smallholder farmers so that they can be able to become self-reliant and self-sufficient and just be sustainable and building communities and reliance in the communities. So I'll start with a personal story. Based on that, I grew up in Kibera slums, and Kibera slums is one of the biggest slums in Kenya. And when you grow in these parts of the world, of the countries and setups, you see a lot of things: poverty, sanitation, every single thing is poor. Yeah. So when you grow up in this state of life, you grow up with the belief that you are supposed to be given. You're supposed to be provided for. You're supposed to be donated. Things are supposed to be donated for you. You forget the fact that you're supposed to be working hard. And what Motherland is bringing on the ground is basically just giving someone a fish, yeah, instead of teaching someone how to fish instead of giving them a fish for the long run. Yeah. When we began Motherland last year, we faced a lot of challenges and we had a lot of learnings. And one of the things that we realized was that the farmers were expecting a lot and more. And because we were also coming from this avenue and aspect that we had funds, we had support, we had big dreams. Then you go on the ground and then you're meeting farmers that when they're trained, they are being called for training, they want to be paid. When you want something, they want something in return. They always want something in return. They don't look at the bigger picture. They don't want to look at the bigger picture. And that is now the problem. Yeah. So we started with 0 farmers. And by the end of 2023, we had 684 farmers. Yeah. So from 0 farmers to 684 farmers. And what we are what our main aim when it comes to reducing the post-harvest loss is we are working with different startups offering solutions to challenges that the farmers are going through. It could be markets, it can be infrastructure, it can be knowledge and empowerment. So basically, we what we do is we go to the community, we look at the challenges that these people are going through, that our communities are going through, and then we look at startups that match up this, that offer solutions matching up to these challenges, and then we just link them to the community. So, for instance, markets. One of some of the challenges that the farmers are going through in Siaya County and even Kenya as a whole is market linkages, exploitation, lack of knowledge and know-how, climate change, of course. Yeah. So when you look at the aspects like market, for instance, when we started Motherland, we realized that sweet potatoes farmers are facing up to 40% to 50% loss of the produce when they don't get market. So that is where we focused on. Yeah. Why don't we link these farmers to startups or people or buyers or the markets so that they can offtake this, so that we do away with the loss, yeah, that could happen in the long run. So in a nutshell, that is what Motherland is. Our goal, our main goal is to basically improve the livelihoods of individuals, of the farmers in this case. And how do we improve this? How do we improve their livelihoods? We do this by ensuring that, one, there is no post-harvest food loss. The farmers are not experiencing any losses during the harvests. Yeah. Number two, we do this by linking these farmers to markets where they're not exploited, markets where they are going to be able to, get something out of it. And number three, we also offer trainings to them so that the things that they thought they knew, the things that they were assuming, we offer trainings so that they can be empowered and realize, okay, so there has always been an exploitation going on. Okay, so I was not like literally doing the correct ways of harvesting methods. So I was experiencing higher loss and all that. We also have a goal for our own sustainability. In the end, what happens if today you start with a donor with some funds and then tomorrow you don't have it? What happens to Motherland? What happens to the farmers? What happens to this community? What happens to all these goals and all these aims that we had from the beginning? So sustainability is basically all the way around, ensuring that the farmers have self-reliance and self-sufficiency, and the communities too. Definitely, you can't empower one person and then what happens to the whole village? Yeah. So one of the main goals is to basically have a community development program whereby what the farmers get at the end of the day, we can also be able to build them something. They don't have water, for instance. They need boreholes. What if from this agribusiness, from these market produces that they sell, they can get something out of it and build a borehole for themselves? They don't have a school in the area, or they don't have medications in the hospitals, which is always a problem. Yeah. So in the long run, we are empowering an individual. We are also ensuring sustainability for the whole community. And then, of course, we are looking at one of our biggest goals also is to replicate Motherland, come up with another team, yeah, who can be taught and then scale to another community, do exactly what we are doing in Siaya County, and expand. Yeah, we always have this dream of painting Africa blue, and I believe that is something that is very, very much attainable. Just go from community to community, region to region, country to country, and then we just start crossing the borders all over. Yeah, so I don't know if Violet, there's something that you'd like to add up to that point.
Not really. You've already explained everything. You've explained everything that we are currently doing at the community level. So we are just trying to uplift the community and help them become self-reliant and self-sufficient. Yeah.
Yes, maybe
So I think
maybe just to add on is we also have a problem. I mean, a program with the young ones, that is the young art guardians, where we train the young ones. We are considering young ones between standard 4 to 6. These are pupils below 15 years of age. We train them in the field, specifically in the field of regenerative agriculture and climate smart technologies, the basic one that they can easily adopt in school and take home. Yeah, we've called it the Young Earth Guardians. Yes.
thank you, Siso. I think maybe before we end, I'd like to add a very important aspect of what Motherland is really championing, that is regenerative agriculture. And the communities, I'd say, as a Kenya, almost the whole country, we still don't take organic farming seriously and sustainable farming practices, and that is one of the biggest things that we're really championing. And it's not something that I can say that we are going to achieve this year or next year. Why? Because when we started last year and started with working with the sweet potatoes, and then we got an opportunity where we met a startup that introduced organic chia seeds in the community, and for the first time, a very new crop which is being done totally organically. And one of the rules, one of the regulations was that the farm should not have been used any form of chemicals for the past 3 years. And I'm telling you, we scorched the earth for that one. Very difficult, because everyone is using chemicals, and the only fields that you can get that doesn't have chemicals are the ones that are virgin land, the ones that have never been planted. And so that tells you that there's a huge problem, because it won't take 3 or 4 or 5 Motherland teams to paint Kenya green. It needs a lot of work. But we said, fuck it, we don't care. Even if it's one farmer or 2 or 3. And funny enough, or happily enough, in our journey since last year, we met one farmer who has been doing an amazing job of regenerative agriculture and organic farming. And we are using this farmer to get into the community and showing the rest of the farmers that actually these things can be done. Yeah. And he's actually the patriot of the Young Earth Guardians programs that Siso is talking about. He's actually very instrumental when it comes to organic farming and regenerative agriculture. And his name is Joseph. And Joseph has been very supportive and very helpful whenever you need him. And you see now, like, for instance, Joseph was trained with one of the organizations that came into that community a while back. And you see these organizations come and they don't follow up. They don't care what you're doing or not. I think they just do it just for the sake, but they don't have the true interest at heart. You know, I won't say that we are the good ones, yeah, but they were trained and they left. So one of the things that he was trained on was a vermicompost, yeah. So with this vermicompost, he uses the juice as the fertilizers, and it has the juice has a lot of benefits, even including toilets, which I also learned in one of the trainings from him. So when you see like people like Joseph, you feel very motivated, and you're like, okay, these things can happen. So what we did do, for instance, they just bringing in back sustainability again. So last year, when we met him, he had like this one structure of vermicompost, and we were like, okay, why don't we empower you so that you can have, like 3 or 4 structures, teach the communities, you can even start selling the juice to them, yeah, after they see how good it is. And basically that is what we are trying to building people, communities that take care of themselves, take care of the soil, and think of the consumers too. Yeah, there are people that cannot eat any product that is not organic, but for us, we are used to them, but they're not healthy. Yeah, they're not healthy. So it takes us, and it takes someone who is motivated like Joseph, just one person. And it doesn't matter how many people we're going to touch, even if it's 2 by the end of the year or 3. But one of our KPIs this year is that we increase the number of farmers practicing safe, sustainable practices to 100. And we know it is very much achievable. Why? Because with Joseph, he managed to teach 30 farmers that we call lead farmers, who are like our entrance into the community. Yeah. When these 30 farmers adopt and they bring 2 more, we are at 100 already. What about next year and the year after that? Yeah. So a dream is only big when you don't try it. Yeah. But the moment you try it, it becomes something that is achievable. Yeah. So thank you. I think I've talked so much, and I really appreciate you for listening and for your time.
Thank you, Kat, for sharing with us. So I'm gonna do a quick summary and would like to hear whether I'm actually summarizing correctly. And then based on that, I'll have some questions. So what I heard is that you started about a year ago attacking the post-harvest losses of the farmers, which were around, you said, 40 to 50%, and that you're bringing in, for example, startups, but also empowering local practices to help the community of the farmers, and then, but also the wider community through the children to become self-sufficient, self-reliant. Is that correct in a nutshell?
Yeah, that's correct, Thomas.
Okay. And I'm wondering, you started with that elderly farmer who called you children. I'm wondering, has he changed his mind yet? Have you had a conversation with him recently?
Thank you for asking that. Actually, unfortunately, we have not. We are not working in the village that he is, but he actually reached out through one of the farmers, saying that he wants to be in the project of chia seeds. So, meaning that I think he's starting to believe something.
Okay, very good. And did the other farmers welcome him, or how does that work? If he wants to join, how does that work?
Actually, they don't know that of him. They don't know that he once looked us down. But we know him, so we, of course, we welcomed him, and I think that is one of the best people to become our lead farmers. Just to be close and see that whatever we are doing is going somewhere.
Okay, and I mean, you coming from an entirely different background of psychology, this is a very interesting field for you to engage with, because it's, on the surface at least, it couldn't be further from psychology. But I guess there's a lot of interaction with people, and like you just described, maybe change of mind or soul set in people who starts looking at the world in a fresh way. From that perspective, what would you say was the hardest thing that you experienced since you started? And then also, what was the most rewarding and successful thing that happened during that time?
Thank you so much. I'd say that the most challenging thing that I experienced was basically just getting into, it's like you are heading west, and then suddenly something just comes, and then you're supposed to start going east. Yeah. So it's a total, 360 degrees turn, which again, something that again happened for me that was really great. I had to know that side of myself, that I can, regardless of whatever is coming my way, I'm really I'm ready to, like chameleon in there and just get it done properly. Because the truth is, the moment I was being told, okay, now this is the opportunity, this is what is supposed to be done, I didn't even know what a startup was. I didn't even know what climate was. I just knew that the shallow part. But you see, right now where I'm seated, climate gives me anxiety. Yeah, just thinking of it, which could not happen 2 years back. Just the other day, we've been having heat waves in Nairobi for the past 4 weeks back. There has been news that there's the heat waves in Nairobi and all that. And right now it's about they're supposed to have started raining, the long rains, which has still not shown 100%. So you see things like this now when you're inside and okay, this is exactly what climate is. You start having anxieties, and now again the psychology thing has not really gone, because now you know what anxiety is, and there's something called eco grief, and there's the psychological part of climate that exists. So you're like, okay, it's just a different thing, but all one, more or less the same. And then there's also the issues of trust. Trust is one of the things that are very essential. Being trusted by Motherland with this opportunity, being trusted by the community, that you can do this, is one of the greatest things, that has happened, I think, to all of us. From that guy calling us children, to that guy that didn't call us children but saw us as one, to that one that didn't believe even in our mission but didn't say it. But there are still those ones that were there and believed in our mission. People like Joseph, people like that we just met, and they were like, okay, and now they're part of a big family. If right now we all fall sick, for instance, God forbid, Motherland won't stop running. We'll just call Joseph and tell, hey, we are down, we are held up this and this and this. Could you do this for me or for us? And it's going to happen. Right now, even if we don't go on the ground in the village and we need something to be done, we just call one of the lead farmers and like, why is that happening? It's because of trust. And so, yeah.
So building trust was a very positive experience, you say?
Yeah.
Okay. I have so many more questions, but I don't want to be selfish and take up all the space here. So I would like to start opening it to everybody in the room. You are posing a question. Since you put it in the chat, I assume that I should read it, or would you like to do that?
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
So I'm curious, Katz, how and if your study in psychology relates directly and supports your work in Motherland. How do you see that connection more clearly for us?
Thank you, Marianne. I think I just say it simple as it should sound. Yeah. So psychology is basically about dealing with people, and what we're doing in Motherland is dealing with people. So the only different thing now is that I'm not dealing with people with mentally disorder, yeah. But I'm dealing with people who are anxious about the rain is not coming at the right time. They're anxious about I don't have seeds. They're anxious about this and that. It's not like basically the same thing as that other side, but you find that you're still moving with them. And I think that is one of the reasons why it's also didn't give me a lot of difficulties, because hey, it's people. And one thing that I always say that is that we are all born psychologists. Yeah. So you can study someone, you can observe something, you can deal with it head on. So I hope that answers your question.
Thank you. Melanie, do you have a follow-up, or does
Uh-huh.
anybody else would
No, I
think
just-
what's
I honor the understanding that care for the human and for their anxiety and for the effect it has on the person and their community. You're coming to practical solutions that maybe speak to a deeper, more inner place in each person. That's what I'm listening for and hearing. So thank you for that work. Thank you.
Thank you.
Who would like to go next? What other burning questions do we have here? Or not burning, just simple curiosity. Yields, please unmute yourself and pose your question.
Yes, hello, and thank you very much for the presentation. Motherland is just an extremely nice word in order to also get through the message, which needs to kind of be acknowledged around the world. And the interesting parts of what you mentioned also with regenerative agriculture is that it kind of makes so much sense, providing healthy soil and then getting produce, which again can go back to a compost and be nurturing new growth. But it also implies, in a way, to kind of get the full chain to work without tilling the soil, because the tilling of the soil is destroying the structure of the interaction with microorganisms and fungi. So I'm just wondering, have you been kind of looking into also the possibility of getting hold of more organic waste, composting it together with fertilizers from animals and wood, and then kind of providing a compost, like biocomplete compost, that will again give a better yield to the farmers without using chemicals or paying a lot of money for artificial fertilizer, which in a way destroys the soil in destroying the fungi life.
You're muted, Kat. You're muted.
Thank you. Thank you. Niels, thank you so much for the question. Violet, you wanna help me answer that?
Yeah, just we've been trying to train farmers on the best practices. An example is using the organic, that is, after harvesting, they don't have to burn the farms, they have to pick up the leaves, the remains, and have some composting done. And one of the recent trainings on organic chia farming is that you have to leave your compost for some few days, because that's Cecil will address that well. But what I understand is for animal waste, there might be a mixture of chemicals during spraying and all that on those practices. So you have to make sure that the waste from animals are well kept and also given some period of time before using it in the farm. Yeah, so those are some of the trainings that we are currently trying to make farmers be aware of. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you, Tim. Just to add on it, we initiated organic farming specifically for chia. We started with chia, and we are currently conducting trainings in intensive organic farming, including composting, use of vermijuice. That is where we extract the juice from, or naturally extract the juice, say from the worms. In so doing, we are least disturbing the soils, and we are also partnering with the organizations that offer mechanization that least disturb the soils. We've considered one lately, Hello Tractor. It's not onboarded yet. The discussion is on. If they offer services that say promote regenerative agriculture, like what we're mentioning here, then fine, we onboard them and the whole process becomes complete. Organics farming is intensive, and we've just started it lately. We've not really gone so deep into it, but we've considered it at length, because most farmers have also appreciated the value. And the other day when we were in the community we were working with, another group approached us. They had been trained on the organic aspects, but somehow a number of the members stepped back. So a group that approached us, I mean, their spokesperson or the chairperson approached us that we can at least onboard them and at least benefit from the trainings, especially in the aspects of organic farming. So yes, we do this, and we are also looking forward to partnering with startups or organizations that do the same. Yes.
Niels, do you have a follow-up on?
Yes, that sounds really good, and it's incredible to see. There is a very skilled market farmer in Somerset in England running something called no-till, and the increase in yields that he gets from just using good compost, comparing and no-tilling, and comparing in a way the yield he get from the areas where he's having test runs to where he is tilling is just amazing. So it's very interesting when you can kind of do less work by just don't disturbing the soil, but getting a higher yield in forms of produce, and in a way handing things back to nature in a proper way. But he also experienced the same that Violet was commenting on chemicals. So once he got a delivery of manure from horses that's been eating produce that contain chemicals, and then he really had to let the soil lie for 3 years, I think, before he could use it. So that is a really problematic side. So maybe it would be interesting to see if it could be possible to test the fertilizer from animals before using it. So in order to try to avoid getting these substances into the food web.
That sounds like an important addition, and I'm happy to connect you also with the team, or you do that here on the chat if you would like to engage in some way. That's a beautiful addition. Thank you. Who else? Are there more questions here? Then I'm going to take the opportunity and do that myself. So you were saying, Kat, that you are not only moving towards self-sufficiency of the farmers, and only, of course, in inverted commas, but also for your own sufficiency. So how does that work? How do you create a livelihood out of what you're doing within the community and in balance with the work of the farmers? How does that work?
Thank you so much. Thank you, Thomas, for bringing that up. So basically, I think I mentioned when I began that we started with some funds, and when you start with funds, sometimes you get lost somewhere. Yeah, you don't really have some stress. Yeah, everything sails smoothly. But then when you start speaking to people that have been on this field for a long time, the one question that they ask is, what about your sustainability? What is going to happen to you in the next 1 year or 2 years? So that also gave us some threats and some threatenings here and there. So basically, we are in a position, yeah, where we're working with farmers. And right now, I'll just be as open and clear as possible. You find that, for instance, where a farmer is supposed to get $2, is getting $1 for a product. So there has been a lot of exploitations of farmers, especially smallholder farmers in rural areas, in the rural communities where we are working with, for instance. So you realize that there is a lot of profits that people make at the end of the chain that the farmers don't see. So what Motherland is doing is not to get it all for ourselves, but to ensure that the farmer gets something that is right and something that can make him or her improve his livelihood. Yeah. So the difference between Motherland and the other players is that we have the farmers' interest at heart. So now that is where our slogan for the fair prices comes in. We remain ethical and ensure that the farmers get fair prices. So back to your question, Thomas. So where do we get the funds and the finances and the whatsoever for the sustainability? So all these are coming from we call them margins. That's the term that we use from products. Yeah. So when we link X to the market, and we get something like a smaller percentage from that margin from what is being sold, and ensure at the end of the day that the farmer gets what is rightfully theirs. So our approach is we are bringing in startups. It could be one, it can be more in a value chain. So for instance, a farmer sells 1 kilogram of beans at $1 in the farm's gate. Those people that come and buy from the farm, they don't use scales, they don't care. They just see that you are someone that, they don't even care what you used, what your production cost was. They just want what is there. Where then they sell. Yeah, they sell at, let's say, like $200, $300. You don't know how much they sell anyway. These are people that I don't want to say that they don't go to the supermarkets, that they don't know how much things are sold. But sometimes I think it's also about ignorance. They are used to it. People come, they buy, they go. So if we bring a market, if we bring a startup in the ground that buys stuff, that buys a products, for instance, beans, and we just calculate the production cost of the farmer, look at what the farmer used in his farm, during the productions and all that, and we add that into the margin. Let's say the farmer used X, yeah, for the production cost, and we calculate, for instance, the transport. So we just break all these monies down, yeah, and then also Motherlands gets something, some margin there, yeah, for all the linkages, maybe the transport, maybe the storage or something. Yeah, so that is where Motherland gets something small per kilogram. And what is really making even the farmers work with us more is that we are using kilograms, we're using scales, something that they have never seen. They are used to people come and the sacks, a sack of, let's say, 50 kilogram weighs in the end, when they sell to the broker, 100 kilograms or even more. So in the end, there is no way that they'll ever make a profit out of it. Yeah. So for us, we become very logical. It's 1 kilogram, you get what is yours.
Follow up on that. What is the average income of the farmer in the area you're working in before Motherland? And what is the average income with Motherland?
Okay. Thank you. Vio?
Okay, so far we haven't calculated the income that previously a farmer could get from a produce. But from what we do is, first we call them, discuss on the production cost, what will cost them to produce the harvest, and then look at the fair market where they can probably sell their produce and earn a decent income. So that is what we've been doing so far. So maybe you can, yeah.
Okay. So, but would you say that the farmers have the sense that they're earning more now, or are they feeding back to you that they're earning more now? Are they happy?
Yeah, for example, when we were collecting sweet potato, weighing through the scale has been giving them more income than the way they were selling their produce before. So you find that,
Okay.
for example, if it's 5 sweet potatoes put on a scale may weigh a kg, but previously they used to put like maybe more than that and sell at 50 shillings that we were offering them. So it's like that is the feedback that we've gotten so far. They are so happy about it. Yeah.
Oh, nice. Okay. Peter, you have a question. Please unmute yourself and go ahead.
Yeah, thank you, Thomas. And thanks, everyone. Very impressive work you're doing. I have a question on the topic of community and community building. And please let me know, because I had to step out for a moment if that has already been addressed. So what I heard is, man, you already have kind of built up a community of around 680 farmers, right, which are part, something like that. So quite big already, right? It's growing fast and big. And what came on my mind is the question, is there something where this growing community could be used to support itself, right? So beyond yourself. So maybe that question is totally unrealistic right now, but I'm just, I just want to ask it. Is that something where one could start to build on all these learnings? There's huge learnings now, right? The gaps, the challenges of individual farmers, which probably others are facing as well, right? So is there something where kind of those farmers could start to become advisors, teachers, supporters for each other, if that is at all feasible? And have you thought about that, or is that something which could be being built up, right, and be an amplifier? So the community becomes an amplifier of all the work you're doing, right, and supporting it for others.
Siso Vayo?
So from the learnings that we got previously, the most challenging aspect is generally the market, the fluctuations of the market and all that. So when we came back, we never reached our target of maybe selling 250 tons of sweet potato from our previous year. So we came back and sat with them and asked them, actually, what can we do to make you sustainable and be self-reliant? And one thing that was addressed is that basically they are so much interested in value addition aspect. So as members of the community, they feel that if they might get something to help the community build itself, for example, like a machine, that exactly will help them narrow down the aspect of post-harvest loss. So basically, we are still on the run to exactly find a way through the community margin where we can be able to build something, a small factory where they can do the value addition aspect and sustain themselves. Yeah. And also make others learn from what they are doing currently. Yeah.
Thank you, Vayo. Maybe just to add on
Yeah,
that.
thank you.
Okay, Siso,
Yes.
can go ahead.
Thank you. I just wanted to add something on what Vayo has explained. Thank you, Tim. And also, one thing we've also learned, especially with the fluctuations in the market, especially the pricing, is when we have proper storage facility, we can always have, say, sweet potatoes in this case, we can always have the produce in store. When there is a glut in the market, we store them with the right conditions, and then release them into the market when the prices are stable. That is one area that we also explored in the previous year. It really did help, and we realized a margin there, though not so much, but we also realized that with the proper storage facility, we can get this produce from the farmers, store it, and then release it into the market when the prices are stable, or at least the farmer could realize something. Yes.
Thank you, Siso. So one thing that I just wanted to add, Peter, is that our entire goal of Motherland was to build a community that is self-reliant, that doesn't depend on us. Yeah, because we have this mission or a vision, I'd say, of moving of scaling to other communities. So our aim was to, for instance, go to the community, give them all that we can, link them to these startups, and then move to other communities. So we are not looking at staying in one village for the next 30, 40 years. So we basically just go. As we speak right now, the village that we have 2 young farmers that we call community agents. Yeah. And these agents are basically responsible for the community, I'd say. So just to answer your questions with everything that the team has said, yeah, we are doing trainings and capacity buildings. Yeah, training the farmers so that they can become trainers of trainers. They train themselves, they be there for themselves. Whether Motherland is there today or not, they can still, be able to stand on their own. And also, just to add on the aspect of value addition that Violet was talking about, we worked with sweet potatoes last year. Things didn't go as well as we planned, but then we learned that there are cakes made out of sweet potatoes, and we just started experimenting that some few weeks ago. With the farmers baking cakes with sweet potatoes, and they're loving it. So basically, what we're trying right now is to get a market base for that. Yeah. So when something like this happens and we just get a base and the right markets and all that, we will not be here in the next two years, baking cakes there. Yet there are some smallholder farmers in central Kenya or in Uganda or in Tanzania that are still facing the same challenges that these ones are facing. So yeah, basically in short, we have that in mind, and of building communities that are self-reliant and can fully depend on themselves when Motherland is not there.
Amazing.
Thank you.
I mean, thank you so much.
Peter, do you have a follow-up? Do you have a follow-up, Peter? Do you want to?
No, I'm very impressed to hear that. So you already do this. I think the only thing which comes to mind is then what you probably then will go or work towards is creating a web of those communities potentially, right? Even across countries, if that makes sense, right? I mean, you will be in a position to judge where similarities are and the challenges, and then using digital technology, whatever, right, to just ensure that the learnings cross countries and borders. But I think next step. Impressive. Thank you so much.
Who would like to go? Niels, please unmute yourself.
Yeah, and to add on to that, if you are able to kind of make a marketplace where customers can kind of get the good products, which doesn't involve so much use of chemicals and pesticides, you can actually maybe then also create a connection straight to the people buying the food, and then skip some of the middlemen in between, especially if this is also stored properly on different areas, which are then maybe also connected to a logistic network that is able to kind of provide the delivery and then getting closer to the customers. One add-on you can actually also then look into is that there is a very, very good private composting bin called the Aero Bin 400. And that is built within like an inner tube, which are pulling the air through the organic waste, avoiding all the smell and the problems that you usually get with the private compost bins. And if it would be possible to kind of combine then delivery of produce to a customer, but also that the customers is throwing the waste into the compost bin and you later can collect the produce and add that back to the farmers, you have like a double income. In a way, you get the customers to pay for the produce, but you also get the nutrients back to the soil. And as long as you know then that there's no chemicals, you avoid the problem with getting pesticides into the cycle. So that might be just something to look into and see if that would be possible to be maybe a part of your services or a startup marketplace platform that can kind of be the interaction between the producers and the customers.
Thank you so much, Niels.
Thank you.
That is very insightful.
Are there more questions? Otherwise, I will hijack this again for myself, on my own self-interest here. I'm curious to hear about what are the next things that you're doing? What's the concrete next steps that you're facing? And what is some support you wish you had to make things smoother, more easy, faster? Or are you good with what you have right now and you don't need anything from outside? So I'm curious about that. So what's happening next, and do you need something outside to do that, or are you good?
Nicolas, Iso, Violet, anyone that would want to go?
So we've been here thinking about how to ask this question. So forgive me if it's not quite right, but I'm going to try. Given our current economic situation
In the world?
in the world,
Well, let's talk about inflation. There's a lot of
Okay.
inflation, right? A lot of prices are going up. Our food prices are going up all over the world. We're trying to understand your local economy and how affected is your local economy of the world prices. And we're trying to figure out how we work with this. How can we help each community be more resilient and not be affected by these world prices and have more food security? So we're trying to understand. So it sounds like you are trying to help the farmers get a bigger cut from that local supply chain. And so the middlemen are getting less, but the farmers are getting more.
to make shillings.
Yeah. And so we're trying to understand what does it look like to make that local economy more resilient and have more food security? I mean, that's a lot of questions.
But I would even say if shillings become 10x, 20x less effective to go to the market and buy incoming products, and now you have more shillings, but they're not worth much, how do you, or are you thinking about how to keep that local money local and build economy maybe outside of the shilling infrastructure? Does that make sense? I'm not sure if that we're dealing with the same issues.
All over the world.
That's
all
a whole
over.
that's a whole bundle of questions, but important.
I know. Sorry.
Kat
Sorry.
Don't worry. Kat Ciso, do you want to take a stab at that? What's your thoughts around this and your experience?
I actually dropped
Thank
my
you.
network.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes,
Ciso,
Kat, yes, thank you. I just wanted to give a hint to Marianne's question on, say, we are putting more shilling into the farmer's pockets, and that's similarly affected by the economy worldwide. Our main focus, or our first objective, is to increase the farmer's income. If a farmer who used to get, say, 10 shillings from his farming practices, at least if he could move from a point of 10 shillings to 15 shillings or even 20 shillings, that is a big plus for us. Then the other things, the other needs and any other thing now will follow. You see, the main challenge in the communities you're coming from, I would say, is always poverty. So if we are in a position to at least uplift a farmer from his farming, because farming is the key, is the main object or the main economic activity. If we are able to use farming and uplift a farmer from point A to B, then at least that is an impact personally I would be so proud of. So all these other factors would come in, yes, but at least find a farmer when he or she is at least stable.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'd like to
you can say.
rephrase the question maybe a little bit as a backup or as a follow-up. So that's understood, Siso. You're increasing the income of the farmer, but what happens if shillings stop working? So if you can't buy stuff anymore for shillings, what would happen to the community?
Yeah, that is a question that so I need to digest properly. One thing that maybe I'd like to say is before we started the market issue, we had a startup that was offering 50 Kenya shillings per kilo for sweet potatoes. Then they dropped out. So we had to adapt to the situation and find way forward. So we then again called the farmers and told them that right now the market that we were really relying on is gone and we have to use the current market that is available. So one thing that it just an open discussion, they asked what is the market currently offering. So from that discussion, we were able to come up with a figure to benefit both sides. So if currently maybe we can have the economic situation like now dollar is rising and Kenya shillings is becoming worthless, then that is something that we can still come back to the community and talk to the community the best way forward for that. Yeah.
Okay, if I'm hearing you correctly, you're saying that if that would happen, the community could turn around pretty quickly and start supporting itself with the produce they create.
Exactly.
Is that right, or am I
Yeah.
fantasizing that?
Yeah, that is correct. Yeah.
Okay. Niels, I see your hand. Melody and Marianne, do you have a follow-up on your question?
Do you follow up? No, I think we understand. The only thing we're wondering about is, I know there are a lot of apps in Africa, many places. It's more like a bartering system. You on your phone, you kind of barter. So there's not really, it's not tied into the national economy. I just can't think of them off the top of my head. I've had demonstrations of them, so I can try and look it up and send it to you. But that could be a way of making sure you're resilient in your local economy if the world's economic markets go haywire or whatever. I don't want to be negative, but yeah, I just know that might be a way to start thinking about how to make sure that doesn't happen in your local economy. So that was it. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Marianne. Actually, what you're talking about is something we've experienced in the past, I think 3-4 months back. Our Kenyan economy was really, really deteriorating by the day. And we went up to, I think, as low as 20,000 shillings. It was really, 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 really bad. And I think in the end, what basically happens is we feed ourselves with the food and we remain in poverty forever. So basically that is what it means when our shilling drops, because someone like the farmer in the rural area, no one even cares about that person. So whatever happens to that person, whether he gets an income or whether he has crops in the farms, no one cares about that person. People care about the big people up here, and not people that are down in the chain. So what happens is just poverty. That is the end.
Okay. Niels.
Yeah, just to add on that, I think there's been done psychological studies showing the difference in a farmer's ability to think and use his intellect before and after he gets paid for his harvest. And they actually see a change in the IQ when after he's paid. Because there's just so much risk for a farmer in investing in crops and getting the produce done, and a very, very long time before he gets a settlement and knows whether he's broke or whether he survives further on. So if you connect that to also the psychology of poverty, it really means that there should be a way to kind of increase the farmer's payment during the time he's waiting for the delivery or for the ability to sell the produce, which is either based on a larger diversity in the crops, so they are kind of possible to be sold more frequently through the time, or that there is some kind of subscription service that connects the receivers of his produce and him as a deliverer. So in a way that you're kind of pre-selling your harvests, which is of course a little bit risky, not knowing whether it's delivered or not. But it would be very interesting to hear whether there could be some kind of a marketplace that can kind of facilitate that meeting between the producer and the customer, which can maybe also be possible to have a parallel currency in case the shilling is struggling.
Thank you for that. Totally resonates, I think.
Are there any more questions or remarks or feedback that you would like to put here into the room? I'm beginning to feel complete for today. Musa, please go ahead, unmute yourself and ask your question.
Hello, everyone.
Hello.
Yeah, thank you very much, Catherine, for the great work you guys have been doing in Kenya as far as the motherland thing is concerned. I'm sorry for coming in late because it was due to the time. I was a bit confused with the time, but I'm happy still I'm here. So I just want to know, because this is something that I have been really following up to either learn from it and see exactly how I can also maybe in future do it here in Sierra Leone. So what has been the relationship between your team and the startup, that is the farmers that you are working with? What I mean by that, I want to know what have you been doing for the farmer to ensure that the project or the program itself, it's owned by them, it's a community owned thing. So that's the relationship that I want to know. Thank you.
Thank you, Musa, and thanks for coming in. They say better late than never. Yeah, at least you're able to catch up with us. So basically what we are doing to ensure that this thing belongs to the farmer is empower the farmers and making them see and feel like motherland is for them. One thing that I think I didn't mention is that the whole team, we are from the Sia community, not from the village we're working in, but we are all from Sia community. We studied in Sia, our high schools, yeah. So we totally understand, the farmers and all that and the way that everything has been going on. But still, we had to have some people in the team that we call community agents, so that they can be part of the motherland. And you see now they're from the community, from the village now that we started truly implementing a motherland. So that is one. We have the community agents, that is one. Secondly, we are offering trainings. We are not the TOTs, the farmers themselves. We are just offering support. We are offering any single capacity building that they need for them, so that they can be able to carry out, whatever activities that they are doing, even if we are not there. When I say even if we are not there, doesn't mean that if we collapse, Yeah, it means that if we've gone somewhere else because we have that is not part of our vision, or collapsing. Yeah. So we started Motherland with the main aim that we are not there to stay. We are not there to stay. We are there to just bring something and move. To bring something and move. So Musa, I don't know if that answers your question.
Musa, follow up.
Yeah, thank you very much. Yes, it answered my questions, and that's brilliant. And the other follow-up questions that I have is this: as far as the program is concerned, everything center around land. And here in Africa, because I'm from Sierra Leone, that I know how when it comes to land, what are the issues that are attached to owning a land in Africa. So what are the mechanisms that you have put in place in ensuring that the program or the community people themselves access land? How are you accessing land to undertake your activities, your agricultural activities?
Yeah. Okay. Thank you, Musa.
Yeah, just to answer that, one thing that we always tell our farmers is for you to become a farmer, then it means that you have a piece of land. So you can't be a farmer if you don't have a piece of land to plow. So that one aspect stands out. And basically, even recently, we were almost being chased away because of mapping a land that someone claimed that we were grabbing his piece of land. So what we do is, before doing anything, we call the farmers, inform the village elders that we are going to carry out this activity. So if there's any possibility of someone claiming that someone grabbed the land, then the elders of the village are involved. They basically know each and everyone's piece of land. So that is something that has enabled us not have so many troubles when it comes to access to land. Yeah. So there are farmers who exactly are responsible for those farms. Even if it's for, what do you call it? Yeah, for hire, then that is something that is known within the community. Yeah.
Yeah, thanks, Janet. So most of the individuals or the residents have ancestral lands. So the lands that you inherit from your father and from the grandfather. So unfortunately, in these parts of the region in Kenya, people don't have massive lands. It's a quarter, an acre, or two. And then now there's also there are other aspects now of women. The lands belong to men. So for a woman, for you to own a land, you ought to be married. So unless you work hard, get your money, and then purchase some piece of land somewhere. So those are the only dynamics that are in when it comes to the land ownership. Most of them, they're ancestral. Some, very few, especially women, they work hard, buy for themselves. Yeah, and all that. And funny enough is that most of the farmers, even in our numbers, most of our farmers are female. You see, now they don't have lands. The lands belong to the men because now by default, because they're married. Yeah. So when we are given birth here in CIF, for instance, me and Violet, we don't have a land. You're supposed to be given birth and then, yeah, by default, you're supposed to be married. Yeah, you don't belong to that community or to that village. So yeah, but there is no any problem when it comes to lands whatsoever. Almost everyone has a land.
Given their name.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay. Are there any further questions or explorations that you would like to put out here now? I feel a lot is opened, a lot has been answered. I feel quite complete for today, but maybe we all let that sink in a little, and maybe I'll invite you at a later point to see where this has moved, and maybe some more questions. And as of course, as always, I'm super happy to make any connections. Also, for people who might be watching this at a later point, if you're interested in speaking with the team, I'm happy to make that connection. Okay.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Maybe before you end, I saw that Niels was very interested in soil and all that aspects, and I just wanted me to bring on the table that one of our ultimate goals is to increase the biodiversity per hectare with all the farmers that we are working with. And so maybe one of these days we can have a call with you, and then you just empowers us. We like people like you. We love people like you to just teaching and empowering us and letting us know these things clearly. So yeah, thank you.
I think you're doing great. So it's and soil is very different in different countries. Also, so the soil here in Norway is very different to the one in Kenya, but some of the basic processes can be kind of supported to get the nature back in a more kind of sustainable cycle. So, but it seems like you're really on the right track, especially if you're also able to kind of get hold of the customers, so you get a higher kind of part of the income, both to your work and also to the farmers that really deserves. I think farmers are really the hero if they are kind of not getting fooled by the artificial fertilizer and the pesticide industry.
I love that as a almost final contribution. Farmers are the real heroes. Thank you for saying that, Niels. Diana, would you like to give us a little cliffhanger for next week's conversation and share with us what's going to happen next week for everybody here in the room to have an idea, rough idea, and before we close this session?
Yeah, absolutely.
Diana.
First of all, really want to share my gratitude for this amazing session. It's a journey, and I'm very, very blessed to be here with you. And next week, we have amazing guests from the Naki Vale refugee settlement. It's the oldest refugee settlement of Africa. It got established in 1958, and it currently hosts 150,000 residents coming from 6 different countries. And we have a few young people joining us next week who are really dedicated to serve the so-called new arrivals. We have kids coming without parents, like small children. We have families, and they come basically with nothing. And these young people from Naki Vale, they do a lot and to help them to navigate, first of all, landing in a refugee ecosystem, but also what does it take to build a life from nothing. And these people actually need a lot. So they will share with us their experiences. They're also refugee by themselves. They're very challenging and also fascinating biographies. And then we're going to open up the space, and very much looking forward to your questions and to your input, and also to connections, how we could build shelter and houses solutions, but also infrastructure that nurtures these people on this planet who are really threatened. And as you know, we will have really millions of people on the move in the next couple of years. So yeah, I'm personally very honored to be part of the next session as well. That's it.
Beautiful. And then building on that, after that will be by Ivan Shumkov, who has done amazing work with the UN building shelters and finding blueprints for building shelters. So we're going to build on what we learn next week from Naki Vale. Beautiful. Thank you, Kat, Vayo, Ciso, for all the amazing work you do. And thank you all for being here and contributing by asking important questions. And thank you for your energy and time. See you soon.
Thank you, everybody. Bye bye.
Have a good weekend. Bye.
Yeah, have a great weekend. Yes.
Bye.
Bye.